Hello friends, it is Deborah. Today we are going to be hyper focusing on hip flexion. Hip flexion is that movement pattern where we're either bringing the knees all the way up to the chest or we are bringing the chest down to our knees. It is one of the 7 movement patterns of the hip joint, so it is a vital component to healthy hip mobility. Now there are 3 elements to hip flexion, the first being a neutral pelvic tilt. Now, a neutral pelvic tilt is going to be different for every one of us. Some of us have a more predominant lower back curve, while other ones of us don't have that. So the key is going to be finding what's best for you, and it's going to be somewhere in between sticking your butt out too much and thrusting your hips forward too much. There's that Goldilocks spot in the middle, which allows you to keep your thigh bones in socket. The second element is abdominal connection. The abdominals are going to be what you need to engage and strengthen in order to maintain a neutral pelvic tilt as you move from exercise to exercise. Oftentimes we can lose that connection, so this is going to be a vital component to maintaining neutral pelvic tilt. The third element is our hip flexors. The hip flexors are going to be the muscle that actually moves your leg up and down. So the gas pedal and the clutch, if you had a manual car, would be your abdominals versus your hip flexors. So oftentimes they're going to overlap, especially if we have injuries in our hip area, and it's just overall going to be helpful for you to practice this video to help you learn more about your hips. Again, if you are healing from an injury, it's going to help you identify if your hips are twisted, at what range of motion do you lose your abdominal connection, and to what degree your hip flexors might be tight. For someone that doesn't have hip injuries, it will just really help you improve your athleticism by just giving you additional insight on your body. All right, my friends, so we have 8 moves for today's video. We're going to be doing each move for 1 minute. We need to alternate from one side to the other. There's only one move where we don't have to alternate, so this is going to be a 15-minute video today. I'm super excited. I personally have twisted hips, really tight hip flexors, and although I appear to have strong abs, they're actually quite weak when it comes to stabilizing my spine, and my neutral pelvic tilt. So this is going to be very, very insightful, just as much for me that it is going to be for you. So I'm super excited about it today. I just will precursor this workout with saying if you do have tight hip flexors, go ahead and pause the video right now and practice my hip flexor release technique workout. That's going to really help you make this workout as effective as it needs to be for your body. This is gonna be good. Are you ready? So before we begin, I just want to set ourselves up for a bit of understanding. Since we all have a different neutral pelvic tilt, for our supine position, we're gonna be lying down on our back. If you have a predominant lower back curve or a bigger butt, you need to find there'll be an additional space underneath your lower back. As you go to lie down, there's going to be extra space, and a lot of times when you do abdominal work, they tell you to stick your lower back into the ground, but sometimes that can kick your thigh bone out of socket, which means you lose your neutral pelvic tilt. In that case, you're going to be engaging your hip flexors more than your abdominals. We don't want that to happen. Otherwise, it null and voids this workout. So if you do have a more predominant lower back curve, you're going to need to take something to the degree to which you have a curve and place it underneath the lower back so that it helps flatten the back out. Sometimes I need to use these bands that are about this width, but if you have a bigger curve, you're going to need more of like a towel or a small pillow. In this case, I found that this works for me. So now as I begin to lay supine, the idea is to make sure we have our thigh bone in socket, and then we are beginning to draw our abdominals all the way from our rib cage. We're knitting those top ribs in, and we're drawing the abdominals all the way down to our pubic bone and then pulling them down into the ground, basically pulling them all the way down to our spine. Once we have maintained this position, I guess I can just go ahead and start the music and the timer because we're going to begin. Okay, we're gonna begin by keeping this left leg stable on the ground and extending that right leg on out, flex the foot. Draw that leg into flexion, passing 90 degrees, and then extend back on out. The key is to keep the abdominals engaged, zippering up these top abs and the lower abs and almost crunching them together to help release the hip flexors so that the hip flexor is not working so hard to move the leg. The abs again are also stabilizing the spine so that the thigh bone stays in the hip socket, and as you move your leg, it's not popping, it's not clicking, and not getting any of those motions. If you are getting any of those, then you know that your thigh bone's not in socket and that you have some work to do to identify at what degree your hips are twisted. Extend. Flex. All right, we're gonna lift on up into bridge, drop the heel down to the ground. Again, keeping these abs engaged, draw that knee into flexion. These are our bridge marches. If you want to isometrically contract the glutes, squeezing muscle to bone. That's also going to help stabilize the pelvis now that we are lifted onto one leg. The thigh bone again is staying tracked in its hip socket. Abs are still engaging, you're still crunching. You're really just using this leg to release the hip flexor, engage the abs, and just get a sense of how your leg mobility, your hip mobility is functioning. And you're getting a good butt workout and a good ab workout. Doing all right? Good. Now we're gonna come down, do the second side, extending the left foot, drawing that into your chest, extend. These are our supine marches. One side of your pelvis may be different than the other, especially if you have twisted hips. So again, we're getting all sorts of information about our body with this exercise and this workout today. So use it to your advantage. Exhale as you draw your knee in. Inhale as you extend. Lower back is pressed into the ground or into the towel or pillow or whatever item you have to help support the curve. That's going to again help keep that neutral pelvic tilt. Lifting on up into bridge, touch that heel, and then come back into the same motion. Now that we've moved off the ground, we don't have the support of the ground. So this really helps us learn about how the body is trying to restabilize itself against the gravitational pull, making this a very effective move for hip mobility. I like to keep my foot flexed because it engages the back of the leg. I know it's not the prettiest foot, but I'd rather have this move be as effective for you as it can be. Keep going. You got it. All right, we'll come all the way on down, flip on over to our bellies. I keep mine here because it helps support my back. We're again keeping the top ribs knitted in. We're gonna extend the left leg, keeping the heel flexed, driving the energy with your inner thigh spiral to the ceiling and through the energy of the heel. Keep the thigh bone in socket. So you're lifting the abdominals off the ground to help maintain that shelf for your spine, and really just making it a movement of the hip flexor. And it feels like a good stretch as well. I like to have my hands here to the side, but if you want to have them here, that might be a little bit easier to help you remember to knit your top ribs in. Other side. You're doing awesome. I love it. You're looking great. Again, noticing the difference between sides. Inhale on the extend, exhale on drawing it back down. I'm feeling it. I can feel my hip wanting to move, it's fighting. But squeezing muscle to bone in my glutes. I got my lower abs engaged. All right, now we're gonna flutter the legs like we're walking. This is hard, but we're gonna do it. My hips are very stiff, so you might be able to go faster than me. I already want to lose my ab engagement. My hamstring, I can feel it. My left one, my right one, it's definitely tight. All sorts of good information coming in. Still trying to crunch my abs together. All right, whew, we're done with that. We're gonna come into tabletop position. From tabletop position, we're gonna extend the left leg, lift it to hip height, draw it all the way into flexion, and then extend again. Drawing it into flexion, and then extend. Again, you can feel the abdominal crunch, but maintaining your neutral pelvic tilt. Now that we're farther away from the ground, our back's not on the ground, so we really have to use the abdominals as that shelf. Who would have thought lifting our leg is an ab work? But it is. Not sure why I wore long sleeves today, because I am sweating. Now we're just going to pulse, pulse, pulse. I feel like my hips are fighting me. They want to twist into old patterns, but I'm gonna fight that, again, and keeping my core engaged. I most certainly have to do these moves over and over again. But every time I start creating healthier patterns for my body, and over time, my flexibility is improving, my mobility is improving, I'm not feeling as hurt, and my stiffness goes away faster. So I'm gonna take that. All right, other side. Extending the right leg, lifting it to hip height, and then we'll draw the leg in and extend. Flex, extend. Shoulders over wrist. Crunch those abs together. Just like that. I love it. You're doing it. I'm hitting my plant over here. I don't want to hurt my plant. I love my plants. I actually want more plants. At some point, I'll get some more. All right, now we're just going to pulse. Pulse into extension, keeping those hips neutral. Whew. Hips are fighting that one. Lift them all the way to the ceiling. Still hitting my plant. I like to keep this foot tucked under just because it helps an additional stabilization, but if you wanted to tuck your toe under, you could too. Again, you're crunching your abs together, and that's a lot of work. Definitely have some improper leg function on this side. My hamstrings are working way too much. But I'm gonna twist a little here. All right, now we're gonna come on up to standing. From standing position, we're going to just work our same motion. These are our standing marches. Flexing, again, keeping these abdominals together. That's gonna help keep this neutral pelvic tilt. Yeah. You're really driving your abs to the ground too to help root you down, even though you're crunching them together. Again, you're toning the glutes. You're not overly squeezing them, you're just toning them. Chest is tall. You're standing proud. We're marching. Just like that. Now we're going to add an extension. Up, extend. Up, extend. Keep your balance. Again, keep this tilt. Seriously, isn't this an awesome workout? Your body is going to love getting familiar with keeping your thigh bone in socket and moving through its range of motion. There might be some flexibility work that you need to do. There might be some hip flexor release work that you need to be doing. But in regards to range of motion and flexion and extension, this is the best. All right, last side. Lift and lower. Flex, lower. Exhale on your lift. Inhale to lower. We're almost done. So proud of you today. Your body's gonna be woken up. Your hips gonna feel great. You're just gonna know more about your body, know how to handle and take care of it in safer ways so that it can function optimally. And that's what we want. That's what I want for you. Your body to function optimally, because then you feel good. 3 seconds on this side. We're going to add in that flexion. There's a little bit of a balance element to this. That's fine. I have my fancy arms, but you don't have to do that. Again, you're crunching the abs. Even though you're standing upright, you're crunching them so that you're really helping the hip flexor not have to overwork. You got it. That's awesome. Yes. 30 seconds and we are done for the day. And release. Well, that was pretty awesome, friends. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and I hope that you learned a lot about the movements of your body. Just by sheer nature and gravitational pull, the body's always trying to go back down to the ground. Now, there's so many different muscles in the hip region that it's constantly trying to recalibrate itself in order to maintain this upright position and the correct posture and alignment. And let's just be frank, it is going to be impossible to maintain healthy posture at every moment of the day. There are just bad habits when it comes to sitting or standing for prolonged periods of time. So without trying to beat yourself up on that, it really is just a mindfulness matter of just consciously correcting yourself when you notice you have gone too far. And this workout is really designed to help you understand the movement of your legs in relation to hip stability, your abdominal connection, your hip flexors. And so I really hope you found it helpful and that you begin to continue to heal your body if you do have an injury, and you continue to improve your athleticism if you already have hips that are open and feeling at ease. Thank you all for joining me for today. Don't forget to subscribe to Aline Postures and click the notifications on. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up for making it all the way on through. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself for continuing to motivate and stay motivated to continue to heal my own injuries. Thanks again for joining me for today's video. I will see you all next week for a new workout. Bye.